Dr. Tate Screws is a seasoned mental health professional with a multitude of practical experiences within the public and private domains of behavioral health for approximately 2 decades. She owns and operates a mental health practice, Cohesive Counseling Associates, in Charlotte, North Carolina, serving clientele of all ages. She is well-versed in various areas of mental health relationships, well-versed in various areas of mental health relationships, and has an extensive background in counselor education, organizational consultation, and public speaking. Her expertise in this industry has been in high request at school, conferences, boardrooms, churches, and podcasts. Dr. Melissa has masterfully augmented her career beyond the office encounter as a 4-time author, short film director, and speaker to audiences around the world, including her candid and purposeful discussion about forgiveness on the TEDx Charlotte stage. I would like you to stand and celebrate and honor Dr. Tate Screws.
Good morning, Crystal Curry, whole government. If I find out your middle name, you're in trouble. If I find out your middle name, you're in trouble. Please, have a seat. Good morning. How we doing? How y'all feeling this morning? Okay, well, let me tell you how I'm feeling. Since this is my conference, I get to tell you how I'm feeling. I have diagnosed myself with conference brain ADD. It is a whole new diagnosis. I made it up this week when I realized all that I had going on. The symptoms include restlessness, multitasking. What else? I did not sleep well this week. What else? At one point in time this week, I had a headache, and I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, I'm hydrated. Why does my head hurt? Maybe my ponytail's too tight. And guess what, y'all? My ponytail was too tight. My ponytail was too tight. As soon as I took it out, my brain said, ooh. So, but I had to self-check. I had to check, like what's happening. I'm having a good morning. I actually slept okay last night. I don't have a lot to do today. Oh, my ponytail. Let me check my ponytail. So I had to kind of go through the whole scan of what might be happening with me, that my head was hurting. I bring this up because that's why we're here. We're here to talk about how when there's things going on in our lives and we have thoughts, emotions, stress happening in our lives, we begin to manifest certain anxieties or certain, worries or certain thoughts that then start to show up in our bodies, right? So the fact that I can't sleep. So this is like mental health 101. Mental health from a diagnostic perspective, what we learn as counselors is when we're trying to diagnose or we're trying to figure out which way to go with how to treat someone, we're looking for certain things. We're like, okay, so you'll come in as clients and you'll say, I'm so stressed out, my husband gets on my nerves, or my wife gets on my nerves, or my job gets on my nerves, or this major crisis happened. You're telling a story about what's happening to you environmentally and socially. And we are listening for, how are they sleeping at night? We're listening for, how's their energy? We're looking at your body language. Even during COVID, we're looking at your facial expressions. We're looking at your grooming. We're looking at your tone of voice. We're trying to hear for different things in your tone of voice. We are listening for certain words you might say to indicate to us whether where you are in your sense of hope, where you are in the midst of this present struggle that you're telling me about. So the question might have been, what's bringing you to counseling at this time? But we're listening for far deeper than that. And if you're physically sitting in front of us, we're watching your body language to see what is she saying or what is he saying, but also what is he not saying? And what is she not saying? What is her body telling us? What is her voice telling us? What is her posture telling us? And so what you may or may not know is that some of the postures and some of the things that you do just on a natural basis are a manifestation of some of the thoughts you have in your mind. So some of you decided to avoid my front row. Why? I took a whole shower this morning. I got this whole beautiful sanctuary. I took a whole shower this morning. I know Shavonna told y'all to sit at these tables. And y'all were like, okay, all right. Perimeter. Y'all went to the perimeter. I'm coming down in your face just because you tried to avoid me this morning. I'm not going to take it personal because I know that people have like social bubbles and comfort zones that you migrate to in order to feel more comfortable in the room, right? Why? Where did that come from, right? Some of you, I got a perfect example. I was on a Zoom call a few months back, and amongst a group of people, and there was a crisis happening amongst the leadership. And I already knew about the crisis before I got on the call. But on the call, since I already knew about the crisis, I'm looking at facial expressions, body language, posture. Some people are on the call like this. I said, oh, let me check on her in a little bit. Some people are on the call like this, like hiding their faces. Some people were just like stone, like almost blanked over, right? And so I'm like, oh, let me check on her. Let me check on him. Let me send him a text. Let me send her a text. I'm sending some people a text saying, fix your face. We're on a Zoom. This major crisis is happening. I'm like, fix your face. They're like, oh, thank you. These are the things that as a counselor, we are aware of, but you all may or may not be aware of, right? So the whole idea behind this conference fell into my spirit about making the connections greater for you between your mind, your body, and your spirit. Some of you are thinking, I go to the gym, I already have a therapist, I'm good, right? But that doesn't mean that you're not still struggling with issues of the spirit or issues of the heart. Some of you may be thinking, well, I talked to my therapist about this stuff, but it's still, like, I still feel it. Am I healed? Am I not healed if I still feel it? So these are the things we're going to be talking about today, right? So let me just start. I always like to start with a definition. Revelation, a surprising and previously unknown fact, especially one that is made known in a dramatic fashion. This is a revealing. So revelation comes from what we know more adequately as revealing, right? My challenge for you today is, if you have your journal or you're taking notes somewhere, is to make 3 sections. Today, my challenge for you is to walk away with something for your emotional intelligence that was revealed to you today, to walk away with something for your physical intelligence regarding your body that you didn't know today, and to walk away with something for your spiritual intelligence that you didn't know before today. Or maybe you knew it, but you had another aha moment about it today. So we really want to bring attention to those 3 areas because it helps us become more whole in our journey of healing, or more whole in our understanding of ourselves. We need to challenge ourselves to learn and understand things better, to push the limits of what we previously knew or thought and make it more well-rounded, be more familiar with the comfortable things that we do, even though it may not be the healthy thing that we do. Sometimes we are comfortable with our uncomfortable. We are functional in our dysfunction. We are comfortable in our drama and our mess. And it's this repetitive cycle that we put ourselves through, this cycle of continued discomfort in the comfortable things, even if it's not the healthy thing. Ultimately, we're sticking with what we know and what we're comfortable with instead of pushing ourselves to step outside of our comfort zone and grow in that space. Outside of our comfort zone is our growth zone. Okay? Okay, so the Greek definition of the word revelation is apocalypsis, a Greek word, apocalypsis. Everyone's thinking about The Walking Dead. We're not talking about that. Apocalypsis, and it literally means removal of a veil. So you can't have revelation beyond the veil that's over your eyes. Your revelation is your boundary. It's your limit. It's your cap. It's your ceiling. A few years ago, this was a while ago, my pastor made a statement. He said, you can't date beyond your own revelation of who you are. And I was like, dang. So at the time that he made that statement, I was twice divorced, single mother of 2 kids. And those marriages were a hot mess. So I was like, wow. But it also confirmed for me what I knew was that I had all the ammunition in the world to blame my ex-husbands for what mess they contributed to the marriage, but who chose these men? Who married these men? I was the common denominator in the middle of my own messy story. And so I walked away from that saying, what is it about me that I chose these men in my life? Like, what is it about me that I said marriage is an option with this mess, with violence and attachment issues and insecurities and, abusive words, and like, what is it about me that I got into the middle of that situation? So that was the question that I pose oftentimes to even my clients. I say, well, what is it about you that you're in the midst of this situation? Because some of the things are outside of our control. But who's in control of you? So if you don't know what is it about you, that's the question that you have to walk away from almost any given situation and say, what is it about me that I'm in this situation? What is it about me that I feel how I feel? What is it about me that offended me? What is it about me that has me in my feelings about this? What is it about me that she annoys me? I mean, let's get real. What is it about me that doesn't even want to call this loved one that I used to care about? There's a present situation I'm in. I'm going back to my hometown in a couple of weeks. And I have a friend there who is in a pretty messy situation. I haven't told her I'm coming yet. What is it about me that I haven't reached out to somebody I care about, somebody I know who would thrive off of my presence, and let her know that I'm coming? That's me. That's me, right? So these are the mature conversations you have to have with yourself. What do I feel about it? What do I feel in my body? My body says, I don't know if I feel like it. That's what my body says. I don't know if I feel like it. It's going to be heavy. It might be messy. I just don't want to walk into this mess. That's what my body says. Well, how does my body say that? Maybe butterflies in my stomach. Maybe even my behavior's avoidant, right? Because she's texted me a few times this week. And I just say, hey, girl, hey, how you feeling? I ain't told her I'm coming. There's also a part of me that doesn't want to feel obligated to show up, I feel it. I feel my resistance rising to the surface. I feel that in me. There's a part of our brain called the insula. Insula. It is the part of the brain that allows you to feel into yourself. That part of your brain could be underactive to the point where you don't feel into yourself. You're almost numb to things. Or that part of your brain could be hyperactive to where you feel everything and you get overstimulated. And so you have a tendency to, I'm a feeler. I know that about me. I know that about me, that I'm a feeler. And sometimes someone with an attitude in the room, it used to bother me. I used to be like, she got attitude, now I got attitude. Right? We're going to be in attitude together. She got an attitude, now I got an attitude. Why she got an attitude? I got an attitude because you got an attitude? That's so dumb. That is so immature of me, right? I remember having a conversation with a client some years ago, and I tend to give this exercise where I say, go to people who know you well and know you best. You might go to 3 or 4 people who know you well, know you best, and ask them for a description of your character, of your personality, like who you are. What's it like to be an experience with you? And she came back with some words that were like fun and silly and, loyal. And then she came back with words that were like moody, irritable. And I was like, what's happening? And she said, well, I know why she said that, because depending on who's in the room, I might change my demeanor. And I said, why? Because I knew this about me, right? But I'm like, why? Well, I don't like her. And sometimes I want her to know I don't like her. This sounds, when we say things out loud in therapy, it sounds different, right? So she's like, well, I don't like her, and I want her to know I don't like her. So I change up. I said, but now you're not likable. Now you're moody and irritable? Like now that's how people labeled you? I asked people 3 words to describe who you are, and that's one of the first 3 things that people say about you? She's like, I never thought about it that way. Revelation. Right? Revelation. She now has a new understanding of her presentation and her areas of emotional growth that she needed in order to change how people perceived her, how people experienced her. She's responsible for that. And when you give someone else the power to change your demeanor, you're giving them way too much credit. You're giving them way too much power over who you are. You're responsible for this. You're responsible for this. This was an issue I had even when, many of you have heard me talk about my relationship with my brother. But I was that way with him also. I could be laughing and joking with my family, and then he come in, I'd be like, it was like it just took all the air out of me. And I wanted him to know that I was not okay. That I was not okay with what he was inflicting upon the family. And I didn't want to act like it was okay when it wasn't okay. But now I'm sitting around with attitude. We was laughing and joking and having a good time. And now I'm sitting around with attitude. So again, the revelation of how you present yourself. In order to get to revelation, we need awareness. Because if you don't know, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. We are ignorant to some of the things that we are patterned by. So we need awareness. You need willingness. Because some of you could care less and are unwilling to change based off the way you feel. And we need a belief that it's worth it to change. But here's the deal. Revelation dictates the difference between your optimism and your pessimism. Do you fall closer on the hope side of the spectrum or the doubtful side of the spectrum? Hopeless. Tendency to see the worst in things. Revelation dictates the difference between our motivation, our energy, our disposition, our initiative, versus our lack of motivation, our apathy, our lack of interest in something. And Revelation dictates the difference between our decisions versus our habits. Are you making decisions? Are you working off of habits? Are you doing what is natural to you? Well, this is just who I am. Just because it's who you are doesn't mean that's how you should stay. My pastor once made this statement. He said, come as you are, but don't stay as you are. Be decisive about what you want to change in your life. Be decisive. I recently read this study, Harvard study, so supposed to be fancy, right? 47% of our day is on autopilot. Y'all are like, yep, that's me. So autopilot brains, anybody? Oh, it's just me? I'm the only, oh, okay, all right. Autopilot brains. The study further determined that a wandering mind is not a happy mind. And although most people's minds tend to wander to pleasant or pleasurable things, it's like we're trying to escape, like, I don't want to be here, so I'm going to think about being in Aruba. I don't want to be here, so I'm going to think about being home in my bed, watching Netflix, right? So even though we tend to escape to pleasurable topics or neutral topics versus the unhappy things, the overall tendency to wander in your thoughts is an indicator of unhappiness. Think about it. You're not staying in the present. It is a stress response. Okay. Have you ever been having a conversation with somebody and you don't want to hear anything they want to say? And you're like, you appear to be listening. You're like, mm-hmm. But in your mind, you're like, who can I get to call me, text me, say, oh, I got to go. Like you're looking for the exit plan. That is a stress response. The exit plan. That is a stress response. The average adult spends 4 hours a day on autopilot. 4 hours a day. 1,400 hours a year. 1,400 hours per year. 64% of adults say their day doesn't usually change, that there's a regular routine that hardly ever changes. 79% say they feel stuck in a rut because of that routine, because they're on autopilot. They feel like they're just getting through the day. And so they're thinking about, they're stuck in a rut. They're unable to think about achieving goals. You're unable to put in action how to learn a new skill. You're unable to put in action how to learn a new craft, how and when you'll travel the world, to be decisive about your next career goal or your next career direction. 51% admit to procrastination. Procrastinators? Anyone? Money just said, nah. Yeah, procrastination. Autopilot brain is associated with stress. It's associated with trauma. It's associated with depression. It's associated with lack of sleep. Was that me this week? Didn't I admit that? Right? My brain was on autopilot. I was doing things, but I was also thinking about other things, just going through the routine of driving to work. Next thing you know, I'm at work. Oh, dang. What was I thinking about the whole time here, right? Autopilot brain is associated with being emotionally disconnected. Has anyone ever told you, you're here, but you're not here? Like you're physically in this space, but I don't know that you're listening. I don't know that you heard what I said. Then you wind up having the same conversation later, and you're like, didn't we just talk about this? Were they on autopilot? Were you on autopilot? Hey, remember I told you I'm going to such and such and such and such? No. We talked about it. Remember we were standing in the kitchen. You know how they give details when they're annoyed that you don't remember? Like we were standing in the kitchen, remember? And then, the dog walked by, and that was when you dropped them crumbs, and the dog ate. Like they're giving all of these crumbs. They're giving all of these details, trying to jog your memory. You're like, I don't know. Autopilot brain. Autopilot brain. Autopilot brain is associated with feeling overwhelmed, ignoring stressors, feeling emotionally disconnected. While on autopilot, we tend to make pre-conscious, automatic judgments and behavior choices. Are some of your relationships in autopilot mode? Your relationship decisions in autopilot mode? Pre-conscious thoughts, automatic judgments, and behavior choices. Now, I'm not going to go because it's like you are forecasting. You're forecasting. I already know how this is going to go, so I'm not going to, such and such is going to be there. She's going to get on my nerves. There's going to be a whole bunch of people there. It's going to be hot. It's going to be sweaty. Like, how do you know? All of these random details. Like, how do you know? Such and such invited us over for Christmas dinner. Oh, I already know how this is going to go. There's not going to be enough food. Their kids are noisy. They're just going to be running around breaking things. They let their dog in the kitchen. Who knows whether the house is really clean? Like, you come up with all these automatic judgments, these preconceived ideas, right? And you just decide to disconnect. You decide to not go. Those automatic judgments, behaviors, habits, and decisions are enacted by our autopilot brain, and it often conflicts with our conscious intentions. So let's say you consciously intend to be a good friend, consciously intend to be a good friend and show up for someone who needs you. It conflicts with the part of me that says, ugh, this is going to be messy and I don't want to. I don't really feel like showing up. But I'm a good friend, and I've known her since I was 14. I will call her. I will show up. It might be messy. I will be okay. I'll be fine. And my presence will probably be more helpful to her than it will be hurtful to me. We just decide that things are going to be hurtful and we say no. It really probably will be just fine. And even though it may be messy or it might feel heavy, God doesn't give you anything to do that he won't equip you to heal yourself through. A conscious decision. He will honor my conscious decision to show up for her. This quote came across me this week, and I was like, yes. Khalil Gibran, I had to look him up. I don't know who he is. He's an author, a theologian, a philosopher from the 1800s. Khalil Gibran said, we choose our joys and sorrows long before we experience them. That's a wow. We choose our joys and sorrows long before we experience them. So we've already decided how it's going to go. We've already decided. Okay, let me look at my time. I'm doing good. Autopilot brain is defensive. Autopilot brain is easily offended. Autopilot brain denies. No, that wasn't me. I didn't. had a conversation a couple weeks ago with a leader. She could not fully accept accountability for the conversation I was having with her. It was like justification for the decision she made. It doesn't matter when you feel justified if it was still a poor decision. Yeah, but I did it because, I get it, but I did that because there was just, I get all of that. But can't you just own it? Can you just own it? Can you own the fact that your hesitation was related to some anxiety and fear? No, it wasn't fear. She was so quick. I said, I know we don't like the word fear. You feel better if I just say hesitation. We don't like the word fear. But hesitation sits under that umbrella of fear. It sits right under that umbrella. An autopilot brain is anxious often in shutting down. An autopilot brain disconnects. An autopilot brain may even take others for granted. An autopilot brain is quick to blame others and not accept responsibility, as opposed to a reflective brain, a revelatory brain. We're looking for revelation, right? Being accountable, accepting responsibility, problem solving, connecting authentically with other people. An autopilot brain is offended by others, whereas a revelatory brain is looking for understanding. Not just what is it about me that I feel this way, but what may be perhaps about them that they are acting this way, that they feel this way. An autopilot brain can be quick in the victim perspective, less apt to practice empathy, less apt to understand that it may not even be personal, even though it feels personal. I'm offended. I feel it in here. I'm annoyed. I'm agitated. All of that is real. That's your body speaking something uncomfortable just happened. Butterflies in the stomach. Something uncomfortable just happened. That's your body speaking. Your brain is like, okay, I feel what I feel. Your insula says, ooh, you feel that? I feel what I feel. Should I be taking this personal? Is this about me or is this about her? Is this about me or is this about what she's going through, what position or situation she might be in? I pray that my husband's brain this week gave me some grace because I was a little disconnected. I was looking for quiet spaces to go into. Everyone else is in the kitchen living room. I'm in the theater room watching what I want to watch. That was my way to decompress this week. But I was disconnected. Absolutely. I own that. Because I needed to decompress. Should he take it personal? No. It's not personal. It's not you did something wrong or you're getting my nerve. It's not that. It's I just needed a space. I just needed a moment. I just needed to tune out and focus on something else. Right? That's a revelatory brain. It explores the present experience. It is decisive and intentional. It is guided by present and future, not by past. Our autopilot brain is often guided by the past. Revelation dictates the difference between our decisions and our habits. It affects our core beliefs about ourselves. Remember, we have to believe that it's worth it to have reflective, revelatory thoughts and change the things that show up in other areas of our life, in every other area of our lives. I once counseled this guy as a kid. I think he was, I don't know, maybe 4th, 5th grade, maybe 6th grade. And he said he raised his hand to ask a question, and everybody laughed. And he felt like they were like, "You're so stupid. That was a dumb question." Right? But he said from that point forward, now this man is in his 40s. But he said from that point forward, he has always refrained to ask questions aloud. He really did think he was stupid. He walked away from those experiences, that encounter at the age of 9, 10 years old, thinking, why plan to go to college? Everybody else is taking their SATs and preparing to go to college. He's like, nobody in my family went to college, so I might as well, I probably am stupid. Limiting beliefs, because he didn't know who he was, separate from the laughter, separate from the comments. That limited his belief. It became his cap. His revelation was way down here. And here he is in his 40s now realizing, I'm not stupid. I actually do some things really well. And at the point where he's embracing who he is, his identity. But look at all the time that was lost in the process. That's just one example of how an experience can limit your beliefs. But there's limiting core beliefs in us that become habits, limiting habits. I'm divorced. My spouse cheated on me. That means everybody's going to cheat on me. Why get in a relationship at all? I'm just going to have random sex partners and maybe just have, somebody that, friends with benefits. Why get married again? Because it ended in ruin. Limiting belief. If I believed that, I wouldn't be married to Mr. Scrooge today. It's my buddy, my best friend. He'll be my life partner until I leave this world. I believe that in my whole heart. But if I had walked away from divorce or domestic violence or substance abuse in my marriage, if I had walked away from all of those things thinking marriage is just, it's trash, it is not for me, I would have limited my capacity to have an open heart to true love, lasting love, my best friend in this whole world. I could have walked away from abuse thinking I'm damaged, I'm not good enough. All those things he called me, those are real. I'm only going to be abused again. Grief. Since this person's passed away, I'll never be the same. Without them in my life, no one talks positively to me. They were the one person in this world that I trusted. I'll never trust anybody again. Guess who that includes? Yourself. I don't trust myself to have connection with somebody who is authentic because of what I lost over here. I don't trust my life without that person's presence. So I will disconnect from everybody else. I'll walk around in my sorrow, in my heaviness, and I might be on autopilot doing what I need to do, but then I will disconnect because inevitably somebody else will leave me again. Limiting beliefs, limiting habits. I have bad credit. I'll never be able to buy a house. You'll keep on running your credit. You will stay in that habit. I'll never be able to take care of all these bills. That's what will happen. We are a manifestation of what we speak, and we are a manifestation of the limiting beliefs that we allow to take residence in our lives. Health. My father died of diabetes. My brother has diabetes. My uncle had diabetes. That means more than likely I'm going to have diabetes. What does that do to your eating habits? What does that do to your cardiovascular health? If you believe you're destined for diabetes, it doesn't matter. It's generational. It's just, it's in my family. It's in my blood. It's just, I rebuke that. Back to the pit of hell it came from. I won't do it. I will not. Once you realize who you are, once you realize what you have the capacity to do outside of your own limiting beliefs, once you have new revelation, you can release yourself from limiting beliefs. You can release yourself from anything that's holding you back. You can release yourself from anything that's anchoring you from the best part of your life that is still yet to come. Is it worth it? You have to believe it's worth it. Everybody around you can tell you it's worth it. You have to believe that it's worth it. Limiting beliefs also limit our capacity to hope. Without hope, we're dying. We're dying mentally, we're dying spiritually, we're dying physically. It's showing up in our bodies. Without hope, it further exacerbates the risk of depression. Hopelessness is an important factor in the prediction of suicidal behavior. And I'm not just talking about an actual attempt to take your life. It could be the passive attempts to take your life in your eating habits, in your smoking habits, in your sexuality, overworking yourself. That is suicidal behavior too. That's suicidal behavior too. Because you're killing yourself and you're allowing that to happen because it's better than dealing with yourself. Without hope, you can't be your best self, period. Without hope, you can't exercise the true revelation of who you are. You can't shine a light when you walk in the room. Think about my client. She can't be a light in the room if she's so worried about who else is walking in and she's ready to let her know that she gets on her nerves. Light is shining. Keisha walks in. Now my light is dim. Now I'm sitting around with an attitude. Be the light. Be the light in the room. Be the light for yourself. Without hope, we're living in doubt. You believe what the world says about you, what your experiences have told you, what the doctor's report says, what your genetic history says. We settle in and we stay in ignorance. We stay in disconnection. We're forever offended. We're always assuming. We're procrastinating, we're blaming, we're worrying, we're defending. Without hope, we are spiritually bankrupt. Hope is a manifestation of spirit. Our mind might say, I'm not in the mood. Our body might have, increased heart rate or sweaty palms or, that physical sensation of anxiety. Our spirit says, that thing is hopeless. This thing is hopeless. Mind, body, spirit are all connected in the symptomology that starts with our mind. Without hope, we are emotionally drained. Without hope, we are physically dying. Well, you signed up to be here today. So I'm assuming you're done with it. I'm assuming you're looking to release this today. Am I by myself? Is my assumption wrong? I don't want to have a autopilot brain that assumes. Let me know. Are you here for release? Okay, we're here for release. Today you are going to meet some amazing speakers. I'm very excited about the lineup that has been established today. I am honored to have friends and people who say, sure. But let me tell you, I laugh every time because I'm like, I have such audacity to ask these people to come here. Unpaid. Hey, I'm doing a conference. Will you show up? I ain't got no money. What's your budget? I don't have a budget. I just need you to show up. I don't have a budget. Can you please come? Can you please teach the people? Right? Help me teach the people. Help me help the people. Right? But it is a manifestation of their hearts for health and wellness. It is a manifestation of their hearts to do what they do well and do it very well. So I have no qualms, no worries that you're going to get what you need today. Not just emotionally from the mental health experts and the very, very smart people I invited to be here today. They're all super smart. Wait till I read their bios, y'all. They are so super duper smart. They're like some of the smartest people I know. And I'm like, yes, my friends are smart. And that makes me proud to have smart friends, right? Their bios are amazing. You're going to go through some activities today. They are also emotionally intelligent people. My Muay Thai instructor, Jabari's here. Hey, y'all. He's a whole doctorate, a whole PhD in psychology. Yes. Ebony Williams, I love you so much with my whole heart. Ebony has a master's degree. She works in project management. She's super duper smart. Kiana's back here at the table. Kiana's going to be taking us through some yoga exercises. She is a 13-year special educator in the North Carolina public school system, and she found yoga during the pandemic. When we were all disconnected and socially, it was like, oh my gosh, I got to figure out how to take care of me, right? She figured it out, and now she's exercising a new passion as a yoga instructor. Today, you'll meet my pastor, Dr. Shamari White. If you don't know my pastor's here! I am like a little girl, like, hi, pastor! He has been so instrumental in my spiritual growth. He has poured into lives of me and my husband, my family, from the oldest to the youngest. I got 6 kids, y'all, and 2 grandkids. And he has poured in all of our lives individually and collectively. And I'm so grateful to have him here today. So grateful to have him here. And he let me use this building. Amen. Gosh. Dr. Carlos Todd. Dr. Todd and I met in a media type situation several years ago. We were both asked to come and kind of speak and be mental health experts. I probably haven't seen him physically face to face since then, maybe, but he's a brilliant mind, excellent in couples conflict and anger management. He's going to be on our men's panel today. Dr. Brian Shackelford will be here. He's an internist, Wake Forest School of Medicine, strong community advocate on our men's panel. You already met Crystal Curry. Do y'all know Crystal Curry? She is the soon-to-be Dr. Curry. She's working on her doctorate. I'm so proud of her. CEO of her own business, Cycle Breakers, and counseling and doing all the things. Super proud of her. I'm going to give all the formal introductions as times allow, but next coming up to discuss with you. Oh, wait, I still got 7-8 minutes. Okay. All right. Before we go on there, let me pivot really quick. Because I came across this article the other day from the American Heart Association, and the other was from Johns Hopkins Hospital. But it talks about how we are holding emotions in our body, holding emotions in the way of unforgiveness and holding emotions in the way of grief. So first, let's go through unforgiveness. Unforgiveness is associated and affiliated with chronic anger. Chronic anger. It evokes a fight and flight mode consistently in your body where the cortisol levels in your brain are constantly activated. That constant activation of cortisol elicits changes in your heart rate, your blood pressure, immune response, cholesterol, risk of depression, heart disease, diabetes. So again, we're making this connection between mind and body. We think we're upset just because you hurt me, because you gave me hurt, because we went through a thing and now I feel some kind of way about you. But it begins to show up in your body. It begins to show up in your body. 62% of U.S. adults say they need more forgiveness. Yeah? Holding grudges is associated with severe depression and PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, here's what we know about our brains. Our brains are built for 2 things. Our brains were built, created for survival and for connection. Now, we say survival because it's the primary, like the bottom part of our brain that kicks into survival mode when we sense danger. Now, back in, I don't know, dinosaur days, we'll just say that, it was important to have that response, right? So that when a dinosaur shows up, a lion jumps out, if a bear all of a sudden shows up here at Life Creative Space, our brain kicks in, goes into survival mode, all the blood rushes to our extremities so that we can fight, run. It allows us to save ourselves in times of danger. The problem is, once our body gets familiar with that survival response, what we perceive as a need to survive has turned into our regular relationships. So when you say, hey, Melissa, you got a review coming up this week. I'll meet with you on Friday. Oh, my brain thinks, am I about to get fired? Did I do something wrong? Survival mode kicks in to where I now start to worry. So now we are trying to survive everywhere. We are trying to survive everywhere. And again, second part, we're wired for connection. We're wired for connection. So anytime I perceive there might be something that's disconnecting you and I, survival mode kicks in. Survival mode kicks in. Disconnection, grief, loss. So not just the passing of a loved one, loss of a job, loss of a relationship, moving from one community to next, that's disconnection with familiarity, disconnection to what you were once attached to. Maybe you're the CEO, maybe you're the owner of your job, and somebody says, hey, I got another job offer, I'm leaving. Ooh, you leaving me? Survival mode kicks in. Grief kicks in. Grief, I was reading this book, The Grieving Brain. Grief rewires our brain kind of like a GPS system. So we're used to having certain things in a certain sort of way. Go down the street, take a right, but what happens if there's a parade that day? And you're like, wait a minute, your GPS is series like, wait, what's happening? Wait, rerouting. That's what happens in grief. Our brain is rerouting, and it takes us a moment to find our bearings. We like going the way we used to go all the time, but it's making us go a different way, completely outside of our control, rewiring our brain to get our bearings back. Grief evokes a stress response due to loss of attachment, trying to recalibrate our bearings in life. We go through brain fog in the midst of grief, disorientation, like, wait, but I used to go that way. I used to call. Every Tuesday I used to call. I remember losing a friend, loosely a friend, not a friend like my homegirl, but like someone I knew. She died of a broken heart after her son had died of suicide. And she was just ailing. But imagine being in that position. As parents, we don't imagine that we're going to bury our children, especially in that type of loss. How do you recalibrate your life? How do you wake up to that empty bedroom across the room? Recalibration. It's a stress response. There's a loss of attachment, disorientation, brain fog. It's like you're floating. There's a freeze response, actually. Our brains, when we go into brain fog, and similar to that autopilot, it's our brain trying to protect ourselves from emotional pain. So it goes into safety mode, retreats into safety mode. But our brain has something called plasticity. Plasticity is basically the capacity to pivot, the capacity to change. It's adaptability. And that's what revelation gives us. Revelation gives us adaptability. It gives us the capacity to know when we're feeling connection. Again, that insula turns on. Know when we're feeling disconnection. And then remedy that disconnection accordingly. We don't want to hold unforgiveness in our bodies. We don't want to hold grief in our bodies. We don't want to hold shame in our bodies. We don't want to hold bitterness in our bodies.